Why hello there, A Knife's Tale here. I do hope this video finds you well. Today I'm bringing you a review of this Artisan Cutlery Simoon, S-I-M-O-O-N. This is a budget knife offering from Artisan that I recently unboxed in my larger unboxing. And yeah, I think we can get to the review now. Let's start off with getting specs out of the way. You've got between 3 3/8 and 3.5 inches of blade, so it's just under 3.5, kind of. Just around, maybe just a tiny bit under 8 inches overall, and yeah, 4.5-ish inches of handle. Not bad on the ratios. Not bad at all. Let's do some comparisons to our comparisons of the Conspirator and Elementum. Also a VV, by the way. Yeah, this is very, very close to the Conspirator. It is I don't know if that's going to come across on camera. Yeah, it kind of does. It is a tiny bit shorter than the Conspirator, which is like 3.5 to 4.5 exact. These are just slightly under those, and yeah, it's definitely still a full-size knife, though. So, it's also considerably thinner, but it is taller, in fact. No? At its absolute tallest back here, it's about the same as the Conspirator, so it looks tall. And I mean, if you were to take from this pot to this pot and say, yeah, it's tall, but it's actually kind of deceptive. Interesting. Oh, one last comparison, of course. I always forget this, and I also always forget to say, consider liking and subscribing if you want to see more content, if you like the video, if you want to support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Actual handle length. You have 1 3/4 double A battery, maybe 1 2/3. But you also have this choil, which I will talk about in a little while, but it is a choil, and it does work for fingers. Let's get the weight going right here, since the scale is right here. Can we see? We can. I don't know why the light doesn't always like playing nice with this scale. It's 3.32 ounces, so it's actually better than 1 ounce an inch. The ratios on this thing are really good, and it's almost surprising because there's full steel liners in this. They really did a good job on weight here. I'm very surprised by that, honestly. Hardware check, also right here. T8. The only thing that's not T8 is the pocket clip. It is reversible, but it is T6s. Also, you'll notice that there are actually screw heads, or whatever, tooling, on both sides of the pivot, but when I start to turn it, this one does like move, or vice versa. It stops after a short little bit of movement, like it's got a little bit of play in there, and then you can just unscrew it normally or tighten it down. So it seems to be captured, but with just like a little bit of movement, which is kind of strange, but it doesn't seem to cause any problems. I have loosened it, and it has come back to perfectly centered. So, no problem. That's a dog, by the way. He's not going to stop. So let's ignore him. 455 thousandths. Yep, thinner than the Conspirator on the handle. 125 thousandths on the blade. And on the actual behind the edge. It's not the thinnest. It is a full flat grind, but yeah, 18 thousandths behind the edge. It's not the thinnest knife ever, but it is a full flat grind. I'm literally repeating myself. And it's a tall flat grind, so it does have acceptable geometry. It does pass through material pretty decently. It's just not the super fine super cutter. My guess is it's probably got a 20-degree bevel maybe on it. I really have to get one of those measurers for the edge bevels. But they can be. I have to figure out where to get them. I've only found one that's like looks even decent, but it's quite expensive. So working on that. Either way, it's pretty acceptable for your average pocket knife. Maybe a little thicker than some of the super light duty stuff, but maybe it can be used a little bit harder too. I think that is done with, yes, that is done with the actual specs. So let's just quickly talk about this knife. It is ARPM9, ARRPM9, which is kind of like 9CR steel, Artisan's Cutlery's version, proprietary blend of it. G10, mentioned the steel liners. This one's got a stonewash. They come in three variants, two which have a black blade with different color G10, and this. I didn't want the black blade, so here we go. This is your only option. It's a nice sort of slightly slate blue kind of. It's good looking. The blade shape is, what do you call that? I mean, it's kind of dowel-ish. It's kind of trailing point sheep's foot almost, really, with trailing point modified sheep's foot. Yeah, that would kind of actually do it, right? Modified trailing clip point, yeah. But you got tip access. It's definitely utilitarian. It's got a little bit of belly. It's quite usable and useful, even though if it does maybe for some people have a slightly more aggressive look to it, but that can also be a draw, right? It doesn't have to be something, not everybody cares that it's slightly aggressive. Sometimes it's just an interesting, less often seen blade shape can be nice, and I enjoy it. So, yeah. Stonewash, swedge, jimping that is actually quite functional. It doesn't look like it would be, but it's actually quite grippy. It's good. They did put the Artisan stamp on it with the blade steel, but they put it on the flat. It's really small. It's fine. That or their logo, both are fine. If they're going to do it this small, yeah, it's not taking up any room. It's quite well executed, and I like it, personally. I'm not going to complain about this one. This is how I would like to see it done if you're going to put something on the blade. Thumb studs are actually quite good. They're tall enough that they are kind of in line with the actual crossbar itself. But they have a nice little bit of, they have a little tiny bit of doming, but they've got nice steps that are quite comfortable to interact with. Plunge grind is fantastic, and the actual blade stop is way up here. It actually hits the bar, so you don't have to worry about sharpening choil at all. I mean, that's all sharpening choil. And as I mentioned, it is actually a functional sharpening choil, believe it or not. Even though it looks kind of weird and wonky, it's rounded, so it's kind of like a trigger pull sharpening choil, and I actually feel pretty comfortable and pretty acceptable in there, honestly. I was kind of not sure. I thought it was going to just be back here, and yeah, most of the time I am back here, but it works. The crossbar lock is, of course, just a Mega Springs, but they've gone and added a little wedge here. I think they call it their recoil lock. Basically, it's just a crossbar lock that has a piece attached to it, so you can actuate it from the spine. And yeah, it works. It works just fine. Could it get in the way when you're holding it? Sure. I mean, I tend to find it that I'm fine, comfortable holding it right here or up here. I don't feel like I'm hitting it too bad. It's noticeable, it's there. Maybe it would be slightly better without it there, but at the same time, enough people like the Demco Shark Lock, which basically has the same fin sticking up as this does, so I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker for most, but I guess if you... it could lead to your finger feeling a little bit awkward to place. I think there's the actual position in relation to where you grip on this thing makes it work pretty well. So, no complaints really there. Well, I suppose the one complaint is this is on bearings, and they're very, very smooth when you take off all the pressure from the crossbar. And the crossbar is nice and smooth. But when you go to release it with the recoil lock, let's see if you can hear it. It's actually improved. I think I showcased it a little bit more when I first unboxed this thing. It feels a little gritty or like scrapey, which is weird considering this doesn't feel as much. It's probably just due to like putting pressure on this that could be pushing off to a side, and the position in relation to the springs that changes the feel, but it does feel a bit differently. It does work perfectly fine, and it seems to be breaking in a bit, so I'm not going to say it's a problem, but just something to note. You can also disengage this and have it drop to your finger because you fall into the choil. Very nice touch there. The liners are milled out for weight reduction, which is, I'm guessing, a big part of how they managed to get that better than an ounce an inch weight. It's quite light, and again, impressive for full steel liners. Deep carry pocket clip. It is reversible. This is an ambidextrous lock. That's nice to see. Continuous rise, good flex, good retention. It's actually a very comfortable pocket clip. This is a really good pocket clip. It really works on this knife, and yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's also quite deep carry. I'd say you could probably get it into all the way up to there. It's not necessarily the tallest pocket clip in the world, so maybe you get stuck here. But it's relatively far in your pocket, and it flares out here, and the G10 gives you a good sort of pinch point getting it out of the pocket, no problem whatsoever. Now for the G10. The G10 is an interesting one on this one. It's not your like polished or super heavily finished G10 where it's real soft and everything. It's definitely textured, meant to be tacky. But the nearest comparison I have is like this on the Civivi and Cindy. This G10, I mean, as you can see, the pattern, the finishing looks very similar. This is more tacky and sort of dry feeling, and like a little bit sharper on the edges. This actually feels like it's less finished than this. This feels like they've gone to a greater degree of finishing. And I will admit, this feels better. This does. This just feels like it's not necessarily of a higher quality, but that it's got an extra better finishing step on it. That said, this is not bad. It's got a little bit sharper angles in some of the cutouts, but nothing's uncomfortable. And arguably, you could make an argument for why this would benefit, being a little bit sort of drier feeling and a little tackier, a little bit different. It gives it a little bit more of a rugged feel, so it's not entirely out of the question that it's on purpose, that they just wanted to leave it at this stage instead of maybe giving it a little bit of extra sanding and finishing done. It's not a bad thing, it's just different. Worth noting, worth mentioning maybe. But it's, I mean, there's a billion ways to finish G10, right? I mean, this is basically G10, and this is basically smooth and polished. So, this is just one of those others that you don't I haven't seen really on very many knives. It definitely gives it a different feel. Centered, no side-to-side play. There is a bit of up and down, just the tiniest hint. Sometimes. Like, if I really, like, what I just did was I gave it some pretty good gas out there. It's pretty much gone. But if you, like, slow roll this thing out, you can get a tiny bit of up and down. Super minor. Well within, I mean, crossbar locks in the past often had a little bit of that up and down. They're doing a better job nowadays, overall, in my opinion. But, there's a tiny hint of it there. I don't think it's compromising anything. It's not really messing with anything. It's solid. It probably won't even be on every one of them. Almost certainly. And the final thing I want to mention, well, second to final thing, is that they've got a pretty decent, like, throw out here on the blade. It's not mushy and weak, so but it can definitely be failed, right? It's not bad, but it does carry pretty well, and does make for pretty satisfying, especially because it has a click to it. Basically, it's not weak as, say, like this is, though of course this is the actual shark lock, but this is what I'd consider weak and floppy, and like it's not that bad, but it's not maybe top of the line best in the industry, but it's quite good for a responsive, easily accessible and actuatable, if that's a word, crossbar lock. Final thing to talk about is the price, and the price is great. This is $49.99. ARPM9 crossbar lock, decent quality. Yeah, this is pretty well priced. I mean, the best you can expect for in this territory is, I think Migaron has like a 14C28N. The Moyarl crossbar lock is like $40. So I mean, it can be beat, but there's definitely also more going on here, right? They did give you some texture and some patterning and a slightly more complex blade shape. So, in all honesty, this feels to be, in my opinion, as much of a well-priced item as, like, the top mark for budget crossbar locks. With it, I think Migaron often comes out with. $35-40 for a less complex knife, or you can get something a little bit more, with a little bit different kind of personality for a little bit more, but I think it justifies it. So, honestly, this is a big win. This is quite good, and I quite like it. So the Artisan Simoon is definitely recommendable, and yeah, I'm going to end things here and say that this was a good buy. I'm quite happy with this one, honestly. Just doing a little bit of different with the shape and everything. It just gives enough of a different feel for me to be refreshing, right? So, ending things here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and do consider checking this out. I'll even put a link in the description to this knife, so you can consider buying it if you would like to. The link I put, if it's an Amazon link, it might actually give me a little tiny bit of kickback. If it's not an Amazon link, and this isn't on Amazon, then I will just link it to wherever, and I get nothing from that. So, it's that good. It's worthwhile checking out. That's it. See you later. Thanks for watching.